Welcome to day 89 of 100 Days of Making Comics. I'm Jan, and every day I spend about half an hour or more on my personal comic book project called Phosphor, a sci-fi adventure comic book, and I've been drawing most of today after a very tiring Friday where I stayed up very late drawing until the wee hours, but this morning I got up again, and let me show you what I have done. So I did another page of the captain of the ship. I'm making these character cheat sheets, so I'm just making lots and lots of drawings of the same characters, trying to pin down their exact feature. This one is very square-jawed. I made him a little bigger than he was originally. Like, this is more his size. Let me see if I think this was the spare page in between. I showed you this yesterday, but I'm getting there. Like, as you can see, he's a lot bigger here. Yeah. And then I started making some new characters because there's a bunch of them in the background that show up early on. The idea is to worry about the main characters first and the ones that are on the early pages, so that when I start on the traditional pages again, having finished a roughings version, I know exactly what I'm drawing. So here's one of them. So there's no time lapses today because my video of yesterday had to be uploaded today, but it had to be done through my phone. Couldn't get it to transfer to the Mac. Like, it just wouldn't register in my iPhone for some reason in Photos, so I couldn't transfer the clip of day 88. So I just drew and drew, and I thought I just this once would just show you the art finished. So this one, I just let myself go. Like, I started drawing a character and something new came out, so I decided it was going to be a new character. I very quickly went overboard rendering, and I thought, like, well, to hell with it. Let's just go overboard rendering. And so this is a character who I've had in mind before. Like, the idea that there's a blossoming relationship and one of the parties is maybe not entirely trustworthy, and so these are like some of the crazier ladies who have tales to tell and who are trying to warn one of our heroes who won't listen because she's too ambitious. That was kind of an early draft character. So I thought I'd not necessarily reinstate her, but have a go drawing one of those ladies with tall tales to tell. This one I purposely left a little lighter because I figured it'd be too distracting standing right next to each other, though it's the same character. And I wanted to have a go trying that background, you know, like that strong foreground character, background character. How do I get that across to myself? You know, how do I draw that? So I think this is a pretty nice way of rendering it, very thin, very light. But I also think that if I were to ink this, then this one would get a lot of inks to really stand out. And this one, a lot of these blacks, I'm not sure I'd actually ink them. I might just draw around them, but leave them kind of open so there'd be color in them, so the character recedes into the background a lot more. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how this drawing came out, even though I do think it's a little messy in some parts, and there's still a lot of, like, when you really start paying attention, it's like how does this shirt work? Like, there's clearly a cloth here, and there's like shreds of clothing hanging, but it doesn't entirely make sense. Oh Jesus, I shouldn't have touched the paper. But yeah, All right, on to the next page. So there's some of the kids that are going to be in the foreground. I actually drew this one a lot younger than I did in the Rough Inks version, but it could just be a different character altogether. I drew this one first, hot off the previous page, so I rendered a lot here, a little lighter on all the little effects. And then I drew another one which is more of an outline because it's more clear in this version for myself, like if I have to draw this character again, what all the constituent parts are. Same with this one here for the face. Just keeping it light. And then here's another one which is a little bit more fully rendered. This is Grip. He's one of the older kids in the background. I drew a different version of him which came out a little too zombie-like. But I like where this uniform was going. Keeping it simple. It's just a character design. Giving him some tools. Slightly different variation on his face from the side. I had fun drawing this hair in this way though. I think it's still clear. Leaves plenty to the imagination at the same time. It's, you know, there's just enough, what do you call it? Definition? But yeah, quite pleased how this drawing over here came out. I think the hand is too big. I didn't notice that before. So yeah. So that is 4 pages done. Time to draw a little bit more. It's getting late. It's already 10 at night. But I was a little slow in the afternoon during my break to get going again. So I think I can squeeze out another hour. In the meantime, let me show you a little update on this right here. Little side project I got. So to keep myself drawing, sometimes you need a little something on the side that is completely different and also captures your imagination in a very different way. So I decided to get started on a little side project, doing a little pixel art for one of my old favorite games from the 80s, Double Dragon. So as you can see, I've been expanding on the original map. So this is what the game actually looked like how much you zoom in during a playthrough. And then what I tend to do is I expect like I find it a little too zoomed in for, like, I like pixelated art, but this is a very old game. So you zoom out a little bit and then scrolling through, I'm just going to scroll through the map for a bit. You can already see, if you're familiar with this game, that all of a sudden there's areas accessible where before you could not. But let's skip over to the new area I've been building out. So there is a level towards the end where you go through a forest up until the to the lair of the bad guys, and then you go through some kind of temple area. And I've just the way I have fun with expanding on this map is like there's actually very little original art in this. Like most of what I do is just I either use the clone stamp tool or I just use the marquee tool, and I just copy and paste parts like little tiles, and I just expand on it, or I just copy and paste entire chunks of the map and just flip on it, you know, and then I just add a little variations. So this is the original towards the layer map, and then here's the entrance to the layer. if you remember it all. You might just be wondering like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I expanded a little bit here because the screen is going to be zoomed out. If this ever becomes a game, who knows? You never know. But in the meantime, I'm just having fun. Like, I don't know, there's just a really fun... It's like I said in yesterday's video, it's like candy. Like, this is just like having candy. Like, I just really dig expanding on this map. It just it's almost like making a game. Like, your imagination runs wild of the adventures to be had, and at the same time it's very, like I said, there's a lot of copy and pasting, and like I do add some new parts here and there. It was a real pain getting the fence of these platforms into the foreground, you know, like to get the background shine through the pillars. But overall, it's not very taxing, you know, like it's fairly straightforward. It's time consuming. I easily spent I think 3 hours the other night, like building out this whole area here with the pillars. But it's coming along nicely. I hope to, like I said, like, who knows if one day this might actually be a finished enough to actually be put into a game. I did find a YouTube series where they talk you through how to build a code to make this game working, and it's pretty straightforward for an 80s game. So I could give it a go myself if I ever have time again. If I ever stop making comics, that is. But another reason why this is kind of doable in a way is because this is just going to be a flat image. There's not going to be any parallax scrolling. There's not going to be any separate layered backgrounds, except for the odd foreground object, which I've been putting in a separate folder, but which you do see here already. So yeah, it's going to be a simple PNG file that can just be used, you know. So yeah, that's kind of what I do when it gets really late at night and I want to be creative. I want to draw, but at the same time I just want to chill. I fire this one up in Photoshop and off I go. Hope you guys have been enjoying this video. Hope you guys are making progress on your comic books and your little side projects, whatever it is you might be up to. I do follow your videos. If you have a YouTube channel of your own, I always check people out, so leave a comment down below if you'd like me to follow you to your channel. I saw Mike Emmerich had a new video up today. I saw Tim Murray's video. I saw the Artcasters were up again, freewheeling without a guest and talking shop, as they were saying. And awesome video by Scott Cirkland on the Free Comic Day they held in the, well, I guess it's all over the world, because I was listening to a off-panel, what do you call it, off-panel podcast interview with the guy who kickstarted the whole Free Comic Day, and apparently it is an international thing now, so it was pretty cool listening. If you don't know off-panel, besides the some of the YouTube channels I just mentioned, it's a really cool podcast all about comic book creators. Very good interviews by a fella all the way from Alaska, who I also support over on Patreon. So yeah, check him out. In the meantime, see you guys tomorrow on the big one, day 90.